essentially convicted in the media. You don't have to read but a few articles to see how negative they are about him. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent.
Listen up, the ashes stir, phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the lax to meet the blur. Out the flames I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth's the blaze I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stump in unison. Searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom. Built on lies and steel, they boxed us in cages. Now we break the locks, rewrite history's pages. Innocent until proven guilty, that's the oath we recite. Under this constitution we ignite the night. We rise like a phoenix in sync, we claim the street. Nest seekers united, our freedom can't be beat. Stand up when one falls, yeah we got your back. In a free land unbroken, we launch the righteous attack. Justice for the voiceless, break the chains of deceit. Innocent till proven guilty, our victory's complete. System cracked at the seams, built for just a few. We rip apart the scheme, bring the truth into view. Movement swells like thunder, souls fueled by conviction. Phoenix souls aligned, demanding our new vision. Marching on the courthouse, banners paint the sky. Echoes of freedom roar, watch the old guard comply. No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why. Listen.
Hey, well, welcome to the stream. Welcome back. This is a special live stream. We are talking autism awareness, and yes, it does have a portion of it to do with the Idaho 4. I have a special guest backstage. I'm going to bring her up, and we're going to talk about the autism in regards to the Idaho 4, personal experience, and more, and just a general awareness. And keep in mind, all these documents can be seen at justice4, FOURALL.com. That is where you can get all the documents. You can go and scroll through them and read them. You can download them if you want, but we are going to be talking about some of those key documents tonight. So let me go ahead and bring my special guest up. And Gypsy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, great. Yes, I can absolutely hear you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. I haven't used the computer in so long because of the, phones. And I have a lot of problems.
I absolutely love your accent.
It's Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Woo woo.
Yeah.
So, Gypsy, you've been watching the Idaho 4 unfold, and have you been following
every day? I don't think I missed a day.
Have you been following the autism part of the case?
No, I haven't. I wanted to get into the documents before we were talking about it, but I didn't get a chance to get into the legal. I do know some of the legal part of it, where Brian falls, what the deal is, what he can and can't do, what they can and can't do.
Right.
But where I have a problem is, well, in 2013, and I don't think it would make a difference, they changed the autism levels.
DSM-5, yeah.
Right. So, right. There's 3 levels, I think. He's level 1, but he's considered intellectually intelligent.
Correct.
And it's still, I have a problem with that because it's still in the DSM-5, which is a medical book on mental disorders. So, there's a lack somewhere. Yes, I looked up his IQ, and I think it was 119, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah, and I believe so.
He was in the top 90 percentile for his master's with a 4.0 grade point average. And so the criminal side of that, they think, well, these people know right from wrong, even if they have slight, you know, how they have pervasive development disorders not other specified.
Correct.
Even if they have those, they argue sometimes that they know right from wrong. When
Right.
you don't know what a person knows, right?
Right. So, you know, an IQ score of, I'm showing you what's in the documents actually. And you know what? Before I even go there, Gypsy, why don't you share with our viewers what background that you have and why, I mean, why you became interested in this case?
Oh, okay, sure. My college experience, criminal justice, and guess what? Greek life. It was not what it is today. Um,
Correct.
I chased boys, so I was a little sister. I am a little sister to a fraternity.
Okay.
Not I'm not the girl, the sorority.
Got it.
And you know what? It wasn't really. They may have used the term hazing, but they didn't do bad stuff. They had Hell
Right.
Week, where you know
Yeah. Yeah. When you
it
rush. Yeah.
it
I
was
get
not,
it.
you know, and
And they use the same thing in the military. They have, you know, rush week or hell week or whatever you want to call it. So you studied criminology, you have the experience in the sorority life, and you also have an interest in autism.
I am an applied behavior analyst. I work
You
with
are
yes, an
behavior.
ABA. Yep, I do ABA therapy. I'm a lead therapist. And so I kind of supervise and I do assess and write treatment plans. Let me say one thing about when people speak about behaviors. This is misunderstood. And you guys can agree with me or not, but not every behavior is a bad behavior.
Correct.
You need to catch them being good. You know,
Correct.
so when a lot of times in paperwork and things that I read and see, they talk about behaviors in a negative way, and I don't agree with that. Um,
Yeah, and it's more of sharing the awareness, right? Because
yes,
I
definitely.
have I have a teenager with autism. I have also been certified by the state of Idaho to work with autistic children and
Good for
adults.
you. See, I didn't get my certification. That's great. Good for you.
And I have worked in the capacity of a community care worker with that that certification, that process, to where I can go and assist with these individuals that have autism or special needs or blind or deaf. So it covers a range of those things. And when you interact with people with autism being children, it's
Mm-hmm.
much different than
Oh
adults.
yes,
Much different.
definitely. Mm-hmm. They
So
they
here's,
go ahead.
oh, no, no, go ahead, honey.
No, I was just gonna say that statistically, okay, when I started working with them, 1 in 144 children, whatever, were diagnosed. Today, 20 years later, it
Mhm.
is 1 in 31.
Correct.
And
Now,
early treatment, I think part of this is due to awareness, like you said.
correct.
And doctors are are easing up. They didn't used to want to diagnose before age 4, where you know early treatment, early intervention
Intervention. Hmm.
is the most important thing. At age 2, you know, if you can catch it then. But the
Correct.
doctors used to be afraid to diagnose at age 2. So, but now I think they're becoming a little bit more sensitive to the fact that, wow, this is something, you know, that early treatment does work. And so it's more,
Absolutely.
it's more it's being accepted more. It's not maybe understood as much yet, but it's getting there, I think.
And it takes time and education. That's the
Uh-huh.
process.
Mm-hmm.
And
You know, yep.
I just had posted this on my YouTube shorts or the post or whatever they are called over here. ASD is now the fastest growing developmental disability in the United States. And this was in a study from 2011 to 2022. And that's basically, out there in the
Right.
public. ASD diagnosed increased by 175%.
Wow.
And that's on JAMA Network Open. There's journals.
I have racked my brain. Originally I thought, okay, I was seeing families from the military. Nope, it's not that. It's not vaccines. Nope. But you know what? That is an issue. I heard, did you hear someone in California had the plague?
No, I have not heard that yet.
Okay, well, I heard that because and I heard it on YouTube, so I'm not saying it. Oh my
gosh.
Fact, but
I wouldn't be shocked.
It was either California or Texas. I'm not sure which one. And some parents believe that vaccines do cause autism, and therefore now the schools do not enforce the vaccinations. Like when you registered your child for school, they had to have their vaccination record and all of their vaccinations up to date. So now I think with parents fighting the vaccine autism cause, they're not getting their children vaccinated, but they're going to school. And so we're seeing it. We're seeing measles again. We're seeing, like I said, the plague. I don't know that there was ever a cure or anything for that, but
right. I don't think there's even vaccination against the plague. I don't think there is a vaccine against the plague here.
No.
I mean, I'm just being realistic here, right?
And it could have been just someone blowing smoke,
Yeah, I'm looking all over to see if somebody was diagnosed with the plague. A recent case of plague has been confirmed in California, highlighting the importance of awareness and precaution in areas where the disease is present. A resident in South Lake Tahoe, California, tested positive for the plague. I didn't even know they had tests for the plague. After being likely bitten by an infected flea while camping. How in the world did they determine this? Health officials are monitoring the situation, and the individual is recovering at home under medical care. This is a broader trend of several plague cases that have been reported in the Western U.S. this year during both, including humans and animals. Now they've issued 3 days ago a plague warning, guys, a plague warning. Oh,
everybody
I can't read that because
listen
it's
up.
restricted. It's restricted. There's been a plague warning, and are sharing how dangerous this can possibly be. So make sure that you don your plague deflecting mask. I'm just being facetious here, guys. And so that's what they're sharing right now. The Black Plague 6 days ago, why it still lurks in the U.S. This is in Popular Mechanics, right? So here's why. And they've got the guy donning the mask, like I just said. The Black Death has never disappeared. It just went into hiding. So this is what we have looking forward to the Black Death now. Okay.
Wow.
Got it. I just want to make sure I'm on the
same
page.
Well, I used to watch Ghost Adventures, and I think that's the disease where he wore that medical thing with the big long nose that came out. It was kind of scary. But how do you test a flea? They are so small. You can't even see them.
I don't know. They must be testing animals that have fleas and then they carry the plague. I don't know because it says humans and animals. But let's get back to this. So,
Okay.
you know, when we look at this case and we're looking at autism and behaviors, and you are a certified behavioral specialist, therapist,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously there's a standard that you have to look for, right?
Right.
And you did specify younger and younger being diagnosed. My son was, well, they told me, let's keep an eye on it at 3.5. Okay. And then he
Okay.
was
That's not bad.
officially diagnosed at 5. And then we did a little reevaluation at age 7. And that's when we did a lot of heavy intervention. We did speech therapy, OT therapy.
Mhm.
We started medications, and he was diagnosed with being on the spectrum, also with ADHD, so focus, right? So I
Yeah.
think there were like 35 infractions in his classroom within an hour. And I was like,
Wow.
what? And he wasn't being able to focus to learn enough.
Wow.
And it was showing in his behavior and his grades. And I knew that these were things that we had to look out for. But we also looked out for stimming, rocking,
Yes.
repetitive behaviors, fixations. And I start looking at Kohberger's documents. Now, there are 333 documents in this case that have been filed on behalf of the plaintiff and the defense. Okay.
Wow.
And a doctor or did the evaluation assessment for the court specifically, and this was embedded in some of those documents. And in these documents, the second criterion that Dr. Orr found, the defendant exhibited all 4 of the behaviors. He engaged in occasional, subtle rocking of his upper torso while seated. We've seen that in
Okay.
court, right?
Right.
All scripted and repetitive language. Saw that in
Yes.
court, right? When he trying to look at Ann Taylor and then understand and process. He
Right.
appeared fixated on the routine of timing of breaks and procedures during the examination. Mind you, this is in his 30s, right?
Right. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't want to forget this statistic either. One in 45 adults are diagnosed with autism as adults
As an
because they're
adult, yes.
recognizing the symptoms in themselves. And so
Yes.
awareness is key. But okay, that's all I wanted to say because it's out there. It's big.
No, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of people even being diagnosed today as adults with ADHD, not just autism.
Yep, I have it.
And a lot of people don't understand that they are self-diagnosing themselves and thinking, man, I think I got this. Then they go to the doctor and the doctor confirms it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have X, Y, and Z. They're becoming more self-aware because
Right.
back then we didn't know what to call this. It wasn't given a specific name. There wasn't specific treatment for this. And
Right.
I'm learning as I get older, my son gets older, my oldest daughter is getting older. I'm seeing some of the autism Asperger's portions. And I believe what you just said at the beginning of this is not something, I don't believe the cause of this is from vaccines personally.
No,
But I
and nobody
know,
knows. It's a neurological development.
yes,
It's not necessarily well, it is genetic. It is hereditability.
yes,
So
yes,
siblings often will have that, or like the one I started with this one boy at age 8, and he's an adult now, and his brothers, he has two young, one older and one younger brother. They don't have autism, but they both have ADHD. So,
right. And
but
it's
you know what?
very,
That mom and you as a mom, I absolutely respect you so much because a lot of parents or they deny it. They don't follow through
yeah.
at home with what should be done. And so what we do in school is unbroken or
Mm-hmm.
broken at home. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm. Yep.
but
And that's,
a lot more parents are becoming more acceptable to it. But the mom that I know, she looks up like about supplements, and she's very, very knowledgeable, and she has the best sense of humor. Like, I don't think anybody else could have her son but her. And I think I was meant to meet them too.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it's been a long road and a long journey for us personally. And that's one of the reasons why my marriage did not work out with his dad, is because we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of his care, medication, medical treatment, supplements,
Yeah.
therapies. Some were in denial. I was more in react mode. We need to figure this out mode.
I
And
think it,
I
well, I
engaged.
think generally it is the father that is in the denial more. I can't say that for, as a statistic, but I think so.
But you see this as a therapist, right? When you see
Yes.
this, the
Oh,
interactions.
yes, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So when you start looking at some of Kohberger's diagnosis and how they came to this conclusion, I believe he was diagnosed when he was younger, but they have to do this again for the court system, especially when someone is facing the death penalty. They wanted to hurry up and rush and go to trial, when in fact, the death penalty process is very lengthy. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just hurry up and go to trial. You
Yes.
have to ensure that you have a great background and also a good professional diagnosis of what this individual is facing. And when they obviously, some of his peers, if you were watching some of the reporting that I've been sharing in the
Yes, I was.
documents, they were very aware that he could have had autism, and they did a lot of backpedaling when I think they figured it out, right?
Yep. I think
So, and
so.
that's my humble
And
opinion.
everybody makes fun of him for his interactions with women when it is a lack of social skills, which is one of the biggest problems I see in people with autism and or autism spectrum disorder. Um, is the lack of social skills. And you know what? I
Mhm.
worked at a high school as well in a learning disabled classroom, and they don't even have the social skills. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they need to teach in high school regular, and I won't stay on this topic for too long. They need to teach them how to live today, how to balance a bank account. History hasn't changed. Um, history has changed, but what does that matter if they can't manage a bank account or get a job,
Or,
or fill out a
yeah,
resume?
live in today's culture. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's part
I
of
agree.
what the whole teaching with the autism is. It has to be diverse. It has to be in various, you can't just teach him at school. It has
Right.
to be at home, at school,
Home.
at businesses, with
Structure,
friends.
routines.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they'll learn one skill maybe, and master it, but they'll only know it when they're in that environment. So
And when they're put in new environments, it's very uncomfortable, and some of the protruding behaviors then appear
yes.
because of the level of stressors added to the anxiety or ADHD triggers some of that neurotransmitters. And what I'm talking about is that he also demonstrated the rigidity in his thinking and behavior, preservation, ideation. And they say this right in this document, wanting to
Huh.
know the results. I mean, he wanted to know the results of his testing while he was being tested, and was
Wow.
highly interested in circumscribed topics, such as he was fixated on forensic psychology, intellectual topics, and I didn't even know what this was. I was going to look it up live just to see if it was something. I didn't even know what this word is. Meracamy? What is that? Do you know?
How do you spell it?
It's right in the doctor. Hold on.
I'm afraid to
Oh,
pull you up
wow.
on my screen because I don't want the volume to like go haywire. So I
Oh,
can't let
wow.
you go. What's that?
Intellectual topics and Murakami. Does anybody know what that is? I mean, I'm looking it out and I'm like, wait a minute. Murakami. I think it's Japanese. I lived in Japan. It
Essentially,
looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you don't
My
have
Oh,
to
you're fine.
read
my
the
virus
articles to
popped
see how
up.
negative they are about
Whoa. Okay,
You're
sorry.
fine.
Okay.
A list of books. Here's a list of books. Murakami keeps motivating readers. Was it a writer? Yeah, it looks like a chronicle guide of his amazing works. A Japanese writer. His novels, essays, and short stories have been bestsellers in Japan, internationally, and work translated into. Wow, this is
Hmm.
wild.
I have never heard of that.
This is wild. I would have never even thought about. I mean, this is highly intellectual, guys. Just saying.
I mean, and that's their whole point is, that he is highly intellectual. And Temple Grandin.
Absolutely.
I adore
Yeah.
her. She still to this day has workshops and meetings, and there's a new movie. I recommend the Temple Grandin movie from 2010. It explains how she was diagnosed and at age 9, and she had a high IQ at age 9, and at age 12 it was like 120 at 9 years old and 137 at 12 years old. But now she has
Wow.
a PhD and she's written many books. And here's the thing with autism and her. She developed the system that, and you may know this, cows going to slaughter typically freak out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They know.
Right.
So her, with her autism, she understood the sensory, the tightness. Some people, and some like it and some don't, and some wear weighted vests,
Mm-hmm.
or need hugs, and others don't want to be touched. She
Touched, right.
realized that, and she built this. She's a big animal activist. She built this curvy path for the cows to go through that was very tight and narrow on their way to slaughter, and it made a big difference.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's just brilliant. She wrote a book, Thinking in Pictures, and I think what happened is when her mom realized that she was, you know very smart, but she had deficits, she pushed her beyond her comfort zone. And a lot of times, that's probably a scary place for a lot of people to go, especially at a 9 or 12-year-old. I don't know when her mother did that, but
Mm-hmm.
if her mother didn't do that, I don't know if it should be where she is. You know what I mean? But that
Right.
movie, Claire Danes stars in it. She won an Emmy and a Golden Globe, and I think the movie won 5 awards. And
Oh,
it's just
wow.
about the life of Temple Grandin, and it's just called Temple Grandin. And I just found out that there's a new movie on her called An Open Door. And I think maybe this goes into a little bit more depth about her, maybe as an adult. I don't know. I'm going to watch that. I believe that's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, I've heard somebody say if you met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because it's
Exactly,
not one
because
size fits
not,
all.
yeah,
Hmm.
you're absolutely right. So I was highly shocked in this report when I first read it because I wanted to understand what his limitations were, right?
Okay. Does he
And,
have
you know,
ADHD?
probably is a component. I'm not an expert. Don't diagnose, treat, or prevent anything. But the doctor did note that he was highly distracted by sounds or activity. So obviously overstimulation, right?
Right.
Occurring around him, and frequently look from side to side to monitor peripheral vision, right? And
Uh-huh.
as a result of being easily distracted, obviously redirection is needed because of the distraction.
Right.
He needed instructions repeated to him over and over again. And that's, she goes on to say defendant's neuropsychological profile reviewed, he did have a high average intellect at baseline of 119. That was his IQ score. And then he was at 90th percentile for his age. Okay.
Yes.
For his age currently when they tested him. Now,
right.
Understanding cognitively, defendant showed strong verbal abilities, abstract reasoning, memory, concept formation, and reading skills. However, he displayed weakness in executive functioning, such as planning, typical, right? Some of that's typical.
Well, there you go. He can't help defend his case if he's
right,
got
and that is what
lack
she was getting to. Yes. And then it goes on to say he had issues in impulse control, organizational approach. And so then, therefore, he would have some issues with this professor, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It said he tended to perceive information in a piecemeal manner rather than to look at the whole big picture. And that is most important when you're looking at the death penalty that they would not remove off the table. So if you knew what I read earlier, that he did support the death penalty in cases of the most heinous crimes, you could see the struggle and the conflict every time he sat at the table in court, right? I could see the conflict back and forth. And
yes, he was not comfortable at all.
And this is what Anne kept trying to tell the courts, that there was no way, and she does spell this out in the documents. She does spell out there was no way, and it's on page 12. She goes on to say basically that, he just could not assist in the positive manner to effectively help his counsel. That's basically what she was saying.
Yeah, and that is against, that's a problem. That's an issue.
Right. And so, you can go down and you can look at exactly what he was diagnosed. And she was basically pushing hard that capital punishment for individuals with ASD is not warranted. She used a couple of cases that I've talked about before. You could go through all these documents, but the whole gist of it was to understand what he was facing. And I thought it was very interesting. And I'm curious to understand, when you do, you have a criminology background, and when you talk about being an ABA therapist, what behaviors do you look for the most that you can help individuals with autism? Do you start with the worst or the easiest?
Well, you have to kind of get a baseline and do a functional behavior assessment and see where weaknesses and strengths are.
For the individual.
Stimming is not, it can be a bad thing. It's something that, they turn a truck upside down and just spin the wheels instead of running it on the, carpet. And so that's inappropriate. But stimming can also be calming to people.
For some,
like the rocking could be a calming for him.
So when you say stimming, can you explain what stimming means?
Overstimulated, fixated on I don't want to say abnormal things, but just inappropriate play, like I say. But like I said, it could be a good thing too. Let me see if I can think of some.
So do you have a range of ages that you work with?
Right now I'm with the adult, but I have worked with elementary school through middle school and high school, and now adults. And
Okay.
you
So
know,
you have a
like
wide
I said,
range.
it is not one size fits all. And it's just, you know, I went into a store yesterday, a little retail store, and I was buying something, and I was checking out, and she had a basket, and it had these wristbands, autism awareness, and
Uh,
pens and stickers. And I'm like, I support that cause, you know.
that's
And so I got a
awesome.
couple wristbands, and it was great. So
Oh, that is awesome.
awareness, it needs to be out there. It's important though that they put these kids in the least restrictive environment when you're doing the functional behavior assessment. You know, you don't want them disruptive in the classroom, but you don't want them kept out of the classroom if they're able to be appropriate in the classroom, you know, mainstreaming. You know, back, I think a long
Right.
time ago, they used to put kids like that, and I don't know, whatever else, on a bus and send them to a special school that was just all
Right. They would put
kids
them
like
out of sight from society and
that.
away
Hmm.
from the social
Yeah,
interactions so you couldn't see those people,
right.
right?
Yep.
And now today, especially somebody in the comments had made the comment about COVID, right? I know we had personal problems with somebody, going to school and was okay with the routine. And then all
Hmm.
of a sudden, you can't go, there's no social activity. You have
Right.
to go on the computer at home only. There was no division of home versus school. Now you were at home doing school, which was very difficult for many, and having to get on Zoom or, live TV and then do your studies when there's no separation of home and school.
No, because
That was
you
difficult.
need to be very disciplined in order to do that.
Correct.
And
So,
that requires focus, and we lack that with the ABA, or the ASD and ADHD. So I mean, treatment medications can only do so much. They still need
correct.
to learn, you know, to, oh, let me see, get
So
along,
here,
get
get
along in
along,
society, and
right.
live, you know, the best life that they can.
And I think
um
from the reports today, he was struggling with that. I feel, in my humble opinion.
yeah, I think so
So,
too.
in
At
regards to
first
the
I
death
thought he was
penalty,
upset that it came out. I didn't know that he wanted it to come out. um
I don't know either, but I think it's an opportunity. Even though all those people in the media were so harsh, they really didn't want to share that portion because then he would get the sympathy, and then they don't want to share that he is factually innocent because our justice system doesn't uh, charge innocent people.
right, yeah.
It's an
Well,
oxymoron.
it is. And for you guys listening out there, and not understanding autism, I wouldn't know about it if I didn't do it. um think of the movie The Rain Man. Okay,
Yep.
he
5 o'clock
was
news, the
an
5:30 news.
autistic savant. Very, very, very brilliant genius.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's just,
And he was very set in his routine. Gotta watch the 5:30
yes.
news. Gotta watch the
Oh,
5:30 news.
had to get his
I will tell
underwear at
you.
Kmart.
Yeah, yeah. Only certain time.
Oh
So
no, Kmart sucks. I'm sorry, Kmart sucks.
in the death penalty case with Kohberger, Anne was pushing, to remove the death penalty to, reduce some of these charges that he was not guilty of. They tried everything, guys, in this court docket. You won't believe if you read the documents. So she referenced a case with Akins, and then another case, United States, with Roof. And the defendant, who had an IQ of 125 with ASD, noting his limitations and adaptive skills, they were basically saying it's insufficient to render him intellectually disabled. So with
So
a
they weren't
IQ of
gonna
119, Kohberger likely would fail to qualify. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
they weren't going to
definitely.
qualify him
Mm-hmm.
with his diagnosis, and even with his issues of coordination skills, that he couldn't be able to commit these murders, and his white snow.
Yeah, see, that's not no. I disagree with that because it's it's called a spectrum, and um there's the pervasive development disorders, not others specified, that kind of go along with autism, that affect people that they may not even know it, and they
Correct.
are mentally disabled. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's in the DSM-5, with mental health issues, that they really should not be in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he couldn't even help his own defense team. And that is something that Anne struggled with, right? His lack of, if they put him on the stand and the jury would see his awkwardness, his poor visualization, his stimming, his awkward speech. I mean, they pointed everything out, and the jury would see that as aggravating rather than mitigating. They would look and say,
Oh,
"This is
see, I
bad."
was going to
This,
say those are all mitigating circumstances.
yes, but see, that's not the way the jury would have perceived it, right?
Wow, no,
And
I guess not.
and it's the way that people that aren't experienced with autism would receive it. Think about it. You would not be, and I said this early on, you would not be in front of a jury with your peers, because how many autistic people will they put on a jury?
Oh, right, zero. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why he would never have a jury of his peers.
I
He
was
would
just
never
going to say
have
that.
a
Right.
fair
Mhm.
trial.
Right.
He would not. And
Yep.
so when you begin looking at what Anne was trying to do with the case and all the footnotes, and he was against execution of individuals with ASD, right? The death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
She argued from capital punishment to society's prevailing standards of decency, psychologically. I mean, she put a case together, especially with Mr. Robinson, the case where he was exonerated, and other capital punishment cases. She did a really good job, but Hitler refused to acknowledge a lot of what she was
I
saying.
Yeah.
And then she went back again and she asked again, let's talk about this. Let's get some experts in here. And I think that they were just at the point where they did not want to explain autism to the jury. They don't have time for that.
Well, yep, and I think the judge knows the real story, and he probably
Right.
knows the real killers, and he does
Absolutely.
not want that out. And so he would take any excuse, be it autism or whatever, that, to deny um another investigation, which would probably never even happen. I mean, I want justice. Um, it's just, it's so hard. I feel, uh, you wonder what's going through his mind.
Absolutely. I mean, and unfortunately, obviously, Judge Hitler shot them down at every single twist and turn. And then you can go over some of these documents, right? Because she spells it out, right?
Yeah.
She talks about the Brady material. She talks about everything that they did to just continually railroad them. I mean, she brings it out. And, well, you know, he was incarcerated. She even talks about it in this. He has a robust defense team and has not faced time constraints given a speedy trial waiver. The case was well over 2 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they just kept going on. And Judge Hippler just keeps throwing these orders saying, you guys had plenty of time to do this. You had plenty of time to do that. And she's just coming back saying, no, we've not had time to do this.
Right.
We've not had time to do
No.
that. The defendant hasn't established a discovery violation. Hippler just kept signing orders left and right. They were just going to ignore this. They were going to sweep it under the rug, and the state was not going to take notice. And that was the end all be all. And that was all she wrote.
Do you
right?
happen to know when Anne found out about his autism? If she knew from the beginning, or if that came about through the process?
I think, well, anytime that someone faces the death penalty, they have to have assessments. Okay. They have to have a complete assessment. And, they filed all the proper legal documents, all the motions, and the Idaho state, and this was one of the things that a lot of people didn't understand, is the Idaho requires all criminal defendants to be brought to trial within 6 months from the arraignment.
Right.
Pursuant to the state and its constitution. Now, they had good cause that, the trial hadn't been postponed yet until Anne really stepped in and said, this is enough. If you're going to send my client to the death chair, because they were building, and they still are building, this facility to handle the executions, that they're building this, and that this case can't be brought to trial because this individual is facing the death penalty. And you cannot rush a death penalty case because there are certain things that need to be done. And she kept bringing up the Brady violations. She kept bringing up that there's exculpatory evidence. They just haven't got to it. She knew her client was innocent. And then she said he's factually innocent. So,
right.
You can go through all these documents. I guess the highlight of the night would be, after you sharing that you have a background in criminology, you were a sorority member, and you are a fraternity, sorry.
Those are
an ABA lead therapist in ABA, you get autism. And the experience that you've established and some of the things that you've seen going on, I think, obviously they did the best they could with what they had. They gave textbook examples of the diagnosis. They did all their homework. They showed the courts. They showed the judiciary responsibilities. They showed the meetings in 1980 of the Senate and the senators that made all this possible. She showed the House documents, and all these other things that they show in these documents about the Constitution, about the history of executions of Idaho. Lethal injection in Idaho is not viable. The firing squad is not and was never constitutional. They're going through all these documents step by step and telling us in plain English that this was wrong. This was wrong to blame an innocent man. He will be exonerated. I hope one day, hopefully soon, that people will begin to wake up and see how wrong what they did. She even went down to the point of sharing a slide deck for the defendant. This was the exhibit that she gave the court, in how the constitutional analysis of why it's wrong, right? The jury selection, the legislative death penalties eligible, all homicides. She gave a very good case law, high overview, and even talked about other states' capital murder cases. Okay.
Wow.
I'm just giving you the highlights here.
Right.
Because this is important for anyone ever seeing this again in a high profile or a low profile case. Okay. And she talks about aggravators. Aggravators is when they get to the point where, they have a disregard for human life. Now, I want to preface this with what I'm about to say, because here's a Phoenix fireball for you.
Okay.
If you have someone that, I read the documents earlier, if you haven't seen my earlier 2 lives on the peers that have slandered him and just demeaned him, to the
No.
professor who
Oh yeah,
started to.
yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the professor who started to then realized, oh shit, I've got the FBI investigating me now and wants my statements, and then backpedaled because they knew they were going to get themselves into a lawsuit, to the fact that Brian Kohberger said, I, basically, I care about your thought process here, but you're wrong. And knowing that he's vegan and doesn't choose to eat meat, probably for the same reason that you just explained to me that we have never talked about Temple Grandin.
Right.
And the slaughtering of an animal for us to consume probably was very disgusting for him. And this is just, I'm putting the pieces together, and I'm thinking about.
He probably understood it like she did.
It was cruel. It was atrocious. It was heinous to unalive an animal.
Yep.
And then to say that this man unalived 4 people in a brutal, heinous, cruel, atrocious way and had utter disregard for human life is a bunch of bullshit.
Yep, for sure. And going back to the jury, a label, ASD, whatever it is, can impact expectations that they would place on him, be they high or low. You know what I mean? They won't be good, I'm sure. So like, you're absolutely right about that. That just would have been horrible. And I think he would have just
here's
under the table.
Absolutely. And here was the whole background in regards to Ann Taylor's methodology. It was the case file review with research assistants, the court filings, the transcripts from attorneys, court records in the courthouse, online sources, Westlaw, U of I Digital Commons Case Law Repository, iCourt, and the Department of Corrections Offender Search. She put all this together, and she laid it out for the courts. She laid it out for the courts very clearly. 194 cases had sufficient information. 26 cases did not have insufficient information. And she went through all of these, okay? And by the time that she got done, she attached an analysis and findings of factual information, first degree eligibility, what they were charged with, factual and procedural, what they were charged with, what the convicted rate percentage was. She spelled this out for the courts, okay?
Yep.
Knowing this, Hippler still denied. And then she spelled out the death eligibility. This is in court documents, guys. This slide deck was part of the reason that Anne went so hard to bat for this.
Yeah.
So they went and broke it down so that we would understand. And this was the risk of going to trial. Approximately 15 to 20% convicted death-eligible murderers were sentenced to death, even though with 95% taking a plea deal and 15 to 20% are factually innocent. They are eventually exonerated. They wanted to categorize him, put him to the death penalty, and bam, burn his butt. Right?
Yes.
Because they never wanted anyone, never wanted anyone to dig into the truth.
I mean, burying the house is a clue right there.
They knocked down the crime scene that would have told the truth.
Yep.
They didn't want the jury to walk through the crime scene. They had to continue covering their butt and making a bigger lie out of a bigger lie. She even went interstate, right? She showed other states and the percentage of degree in murders. And look at Nebraska is the lowest percentage of murders. Highest Arizona, Idaho, and California. Even Colorado is kind of in there. Factual and procedural murders. But then she broke down the counties, Ada County, Canyon County, Kootenai County. And she broke down how horrible and egregious it would be to actually put somebody to death that was factually innocent. She did her job.
Wow. She did.
She did her
Wow.
job. Now I just saw a comment, and I believe Anne didn't allow it. She protested, and they allowed her. I mean, this is a lot of information and data that she submitted to the courts. Now, and this is all cases. These are all the cases she
Wow.
submitted to the court. Then they broke it down. Now, I believe, Les, they didn't want her to, but she fought to have a walkthrough in that house so that she could see what was going on, and they could not disallow her to go in there.
Right. I wondered
She
if
had
she
no
was able
say.
to take pictures and whatnot.
She had a photographer walking around with her. They had somebody with a steno pad taking notes.
I remember seeing her there. And
Absolutely.
just because of the fact of the body cams coming out versus the reports and how they don't match. And I was wondering, okay, well, wonder what pictures the defense was able to get. And I hope that they were able to get some, you know.
Well, I hope so, because that ISP walkthrough document is much different than you see on those body cams. Totally different. So one thing that came out of all this is that even though she couldn't get the death penalty off the table, I think, he was forced into taking a plea deal. 95% of people convicted of crimes do plead out, and 20% of those are innocent. And that's a 1 in 5. And I believe that he falls into the innocent. There is no.
That's too many. And on the criminal side of that, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, wait a minute.
I'm trying to get to page 12 real quick.
No,
I believe he took the plea deal because he didn't believe in the death penalty.
Yeah, okay. Now, on the criminal side of that, they got his DNA without a warrant. They fucked up right from jump.
Well, they had to figure out something.
That should be, an automatic appeal.
I mean, I believe, in my humble opinion, all these officers and these bigwigs sat around and figured out they had to find somebody who was an outsider.
Either that,
I believe so.
Or
they had to come up with some name.
Possibly sent there to monitor the police, and I don't know if it was Pullman or Idaho. And I'm not saying this factually, if he's a Fed or not, but it's possible. And then I think they knew from day one who was responsible for this, and that's why they were saying it was a threat to national security and everything else.
Well, this leads me into the next thing, right? I think this is important too. When I look at this picture, I think that was Anne's message of defeat, but yet she got him to hang on a little while longer.
I like that picture. Yep.
It'll all work out. Just hang on a little longer.
Breathe.
Because he was confused.
Yes.
And I can understand that some people were threatened about this case. And, some people are being snarky about it, and they're not really looking out for his best interest. But I think that everything happens for a reason. There's a bigger and better plan. And hopefully that there will be for Brian Kohberger. I do hope that somebody does pick up his case and speak up and out about this. But like Anne's office told me specifically, they cannot file anything and they can't refer him to anyone. I believe her hands are tied. And I don't think anyone would be, in my humble opinion, dumb enough to take on this case against the state of Idaho, because you're up against lawmakers and judges that actually put him in there, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And it would be very difficult. It would have to be somebody from outside of the state or something larger like the Department of Justice. And you know, I understand an attorney in Idaho would be, you know, what's the word I want to use? Not scared, but risk
Well, I mean,
career
it's
suicide,
career.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Risk your career to be able to help someone. But with that being said, I want to show you a video someone sent me.
Okay.
And I want to get your take on this because this is going to be my next video. I'm going to actually do about a 20-minute video instead of a live. I'm going to sit down, and I've taught myself how to video edit, guys. And I think this is
Oh,
going to be
yay!
more powerful than any live I have ever done. But let me show you what I was shared with, and I want to get your take on this. It's about a 5-minute video. I want you to listen, and I
Okay.
want you to think about something before I show you the next video.
Okay.
Hold on, let me grab this. Let me
I
grab
have
it
to
and put
write
it on
down what you
screen.
want me to think about. See, when COVID came, I realized I was OCD. I didn't know that. I always thought I was a perfectionist. Now I'm like, nah, I think that might be OCD.
Well, I mean, who better yet to diagnose you than your own professional self, right?
Okay, so what did you want me to think
Okay.
about? Because I'm going to write it down.
Watch this video and take notes. I want
Okay.
you to watch this video. People are claiming this is Brian Kohberger that made this original video, but pay attention to the details given. I want you to take notes. This is really important for every single one of you.
Okay.
For those of you interested in hearing this report, I just want to let you know that I'm a relative of someone inside the investigation into the quadruple homicide in Idaho. I don't want to be any more specific than that because I don't want to put anybody in a challenging or contentious situation regarding their continued employment. And I will say what I'm about to tell you is secondhand, but it is from what I believe to be a very reliable source. Again, this can only be considered a rumor as I don't have firsthand knowledge. I never planned on posting any of this information out of respect for the victims' families. However, now that one of the victims' fathers has released some of the gruesome details himself, I'd like to share some of the investigative theory. As you know, the two women were found in the same bed, but with similar wounds. That's what's being reported. That's not exactly 100% true, at least in regard to the fact that they hadn't fallen to sleep in the same bed. One of the victim's wounds were deep gouges that were delivered with extremely aggressive force, so much so that the victim's liver and lungs were destroyed. Here's the theory that's happening. They definitely think it was a man because of the force of the wounds. The person must have been very strong. They think the man came into the room after doing what they did on the second floor. They went upstairs. The person cleanly and quietly unalived the first victim. The second victim awoke and tried to run. They believe that the man possibly grabbed her, and she screamed loudly, apparently. The man then harmed her, and the reason the wounds were of such force, he was delivering it quickly and forcibly to quiet her, which I apologize for how I know it's disturbing, but anyway, how do we know that she screamed? Because 3 individuals reported hearing a scream between 3:45 and 4 o'clock. That's why the police have such a specific time frame as to when the murders occurred. Because I don't know if you noticed, but the authorities weren't called the next day until late in the morning, yet they had a very specific time frame when the murder happened. They think the scream is why. And after reviewing video files from the neighborhood, they reviewed security cameras in the area, and they have an audio file where I haven't heard it, but I was told that you could clearly hear a loud scream from a female. That scream was recorded at exactly 3:38 a.m.
Now, here's where I'm going to stop it and show you 3:38 a.m. on something that was recorded.
Okay.
Let me grab this video.
You're good. Take your time.
And I'm going to compare it to, let me see. Hold on. I'm going to show you first 3:38. I'm going to show you two different videos. And I want you to see what they've done with these videos.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. Can you see that one? Yeah,
I
can
can.
see that one. Okay, here we go. Look and watch what they do at 3:38. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Look what they did at 3:38. They made it go 15 speed. And what happened just before it went 15 speed? Does anybody know? Did anybody see?
I thought it was the person that created that video that made it go 15 speed. You mean that came from the actual camera?
This came from the security cam on King and Queen Road. Watch the video. Watch the time in the right-hand side. They speed it up. Watch. Now, if I slow it down for you, oh shit, hold on. If I slow it down for you, give me 1 second. I'm going to play it at, let's just say half. I hate the sound, but watch the clock. A car comes from that side. No, I stopped it.
Oh, okay.
Look above at the screen. It's coming in from Walenta Drive. The car comes in. They slow it down at 3:38. Okay. Now, if I show you Linda Lane at 3:38, I'm going to share this one instead.
Okay.
All right. I'm just trying to make sure I got it up on the screen for you guys. Watch what happens. This car comes in, and I have to play it a little slower. Hold on. Yeah, it's at 7.5.
Where are we watching? Top left?
You're watching in the top left, yes.
Okay, what I thought.
So you're seeing the car that just pulled in come and park.
Okay.
Now, here comes the car, and it parks.
All right. Yep, I saw lights.
And this is supposedly at 3:38. Okay? Now, on your own time, you can go back and turn this volume all the way high up as much as you can on this Linda Lane footage. And listen to Murphy bark like crazy in the background on Linda Lane footage.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that he barked for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
45 minutes per 3 individuals. And I found 2 of the witnesses that also heard the loud music going. But on this video that I'm showing you, again, they're playing this real time. But then they start speeding it up when it actually happens. They speed up the whole time when the murders actually take place.
Wow. I was going to say, did they speed it up because it was the undercover car?
They sped it up because they don't want you to hear what's going on in the background. All the screaming that you can hear over on Linda Lane.
Wow.
It is, I caught it and I thought, this is the actual correct timeline. This has to be the correct timeline. There's no.
Yeah, I mean, they originally said between 3 and 4. When it the first day, second day, and then they changed it to 2 to 3, which I believe the 3 to 4 was correct.
And do you know how I know it happened around that time frame?
How?
If you go to Linda Lane archives, they won't show you. They won't show you what happens between 3:30 and 4:06.
Oh, there's that 30 minutes of missing time.
That is the timeline that we are supposed to be looking at.
Wow.
Because they don't want to show us any angles or anything except for this Linda Lane audio that is the 1330, which is the you have to really listen, which is the 3 to 4 a.m.
Okay.
And go and listen to this Linda Lane audio on your own time.
I will.
I'm just giving you the timeline.
You know, whose car was that? Was that the DoorDash driver?
No, it's not.
Police?
I cannot say.
Okay, that's fine. No,
Yeah.
you're good. Because I actually, when they were bringing stuff up about the cars and the DoorDash driver seeing only one Tisdale or whatever his name is, one cop in the car, and Kaylee in the first floor room, my mind immediately, and I hate to say this, went to Rosie with Kaylee in there, and that's why Tizzy was in the car by himself. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not. I mean, it's out there. You know, it's out.
But Rosendahl and Tisdale wasn't even around in that area at 3:38.
Oh, okay.
So that eliminates them.
They were over with the sign thing?
Yep, they weren't even there. They were documented somewhere else. So, yeah, that theory, long gone. There's a reason they're hiding just enough to cover everyone's butts.
Yeah. You know, I saw something that went, a girl, I have it saved in my phone. A girl posted something saying this goes back to 2016 in Montana, where they chose Brian because she was dating one of the cartel bosses or something like that. And I mean, she talked like she knew what she was talking about. I didn't pursue it. You know what I mean? I don't dig unless it's something I need to dig.
Right.
But anything wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Well, one other thing I want you guys to do is let's watch the rest of this 2 minute. It's about 2-minute video.
Okay.
That this guy has just told us the time frame of these unalivings, and I've just showed you what we see at that time frame. You have to go back and listen to Linda Lane audio at 3:38. You guys have to do that. Put headphones on, turn it all the way up.
3:38.
Turn it all the way up.
Okay.
Now listen to the rest of this.
Neighbors say they didn't call the police because they said there's often loud noise coming from the house.
2 witnesses that I reported to you guys in the ISP document said that, yeah, there was loud noises coming from the house around that time frame. They had the TVs turned up loud. They had music loud.
I was told that there were parties there all the time. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it's what I was told. The weapon used was a long serrated-edged hunting knife with a fixed blade. The weapon had not been in the house. The person brought it with them and took it when they left. The 2 victims were on the same bed, not side by side. One victim was found on top of the other. The reason is that the one tried to escape and was grabbed, harmed, and then shoved and fell on top of her friend. That is why there is there's a lot of blood mixtures on this at the scene. They're also desperately looking for this white car. The reason being is that it was seen speeding by an A&W slash gas, I think A&W gas station. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, that's, again, it could be wrong. I was just told it was seen speeding by an A&W gas station slash hangout at 3:45. Now, if the screen was recorded at 3:38 and the car sped by at 3:45, it's a very tight time frame, but it is possible that the person left immediately and rushed and was seen speeding by. Also, the scream may have been what caused the person to quickly leave. That scream could have been what saved the other two roommates' lives. The person knew that they might be detected, so they sped away. Again, this is all just rumor. Take it for what it is. I just pray for these young people. I hope they rest in peace and that their families can find peace after this horrible crime. And I hope that the person who committed it can be brought to justice. Thanks a lot.
Now,
Wow.
I cannot confirm or deny this is Brian Kohberger. That was said on the video. I know a lot of people remember seeing this, but you know that Brian Kohberger is a very religious person and is very strong in his belief system and is very outspoken if he feels that he is being wronged. For him to be silent in this process is probably extremely difficult.
Oh,
Extremely
I couldn't imagine
restrained.
being sitting in a court charged with something and being able to keep my mouth shut. I couldn't imagine. So with him, it's got to be way worse.
Exactly. And it is kind of scary to think that if that was the truth and this guy was telling the truth and he knew a lot about what was happening in the area. I mean, this is the A&W restaurant. This was right down the road. This was right where the Queen Road is that you swing out to Taylor. And they sped by this gas station, right? They sped by this gas station. Where was this car going? Where it sped by this gas station, where would this car be going?
I don't
at
know.
3:45. I wish we had that Linda Lane footage.
You know, that 3:38 to 3:35, I don't have the seconds on it, but do you realize that's like 7 minutes? Could that be another 7-minute, 26-second
gap?
thing?
Could be.
Because like I said, I don't know the seconds on it. You know what I mean? I don't have the clock in front of me right now, but there's 7 minutes right there.
Something had to have happened, because if you go back and you watch, and I spent hours watching these cars and everything else.
Oh, and the cat disappears, and yeah.
But I've watched them in slower motion, and you can see so much more when you watch these things in slow motion.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the time that people are saying at 4:28 that Hunter drove in his souped up Ford, that was actually a truck. It was a truck. So if you go back and you look at, this is interesting around this time, by the way. This is very interesting. This time, I caught so many vehicles coming from this area over here, where actually, let me show you on my map. This map right here. This truck goes down Taylor, left, down Main Street, around the way, and down right to this area.
Interesting.
You can watch as you are in the Linda Lane camera. You can watch. If you flip it over to the daytime and see this camera, you can watch this truck come all the way from the frat row, come all the way down Taylor, and then turn. You can watch these vehicles go all the way back into this whole campus, guys. It is crazy, the activity after the 3:48 in the morning.
I have a hard time trying to figure out where that dumpster is in relation to the house.
The dumpster, let me show you on this really quick. On this map, the dumpster is right. Let me blow it up a little bit further. So this is Linda Lane.
Okay.
And it is right. Hold on a minute. Queen Road is right here. Linda Lane is right here. The dumpster is right in this little red right here.
Okay. And so there's a path that goes from the dumpster circle, the cul-de-sac to.
Yeah, I've showed it before. It's a stairway. Yeah, it's a stairway right here. Yeah. Okay. You can actually go around this whole entire building. Yeah, but if you go back and at your leisure watch Linda Lane for a few hours.
Which one? 13:30 or 13:20?
Well, you can't watch between certain hours because they are not sharing that information with you, and that's the true timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will do that for sure.
That is totally my humble opinion, but you can see all the cars that come in and out of this time frame. And that 4:28 that everybody says it's Hunter coming back, it's actually a truck. If you go and you look, it's someone's souped up truck. It's not a Ford by any means.
Yeah, is that something that Pav had said yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, everybody keeps asking that.
And he was part of the cleanup.
There's no footage showing Ethan Chapin anywhere around that time frame. So if you go watch this footage that I'm showing you right now, at the time frame that they're saying, there are some cars that show up at 4:40, 4:23. I mean, you can go and watch this entire footage, guys. You can double check people. Make sure they're sharing correct information. I mean, I tell you guys to double check me all the time. If I've said something wrong or not shared something that's correct, tell me. I'll correct myself. But you can watch all these cars that come in and out after that time frame I just told you. And they're going all the way back down to what they call Frat Row.
After 3:45?
Yeah, look at these cars coming in and out to the frat.
Okay. Well, I've never watched it on my television in the dark. And so I'm going to do that. I've brightened my phone screen up and I've, slowed it down, sped it up, watched it there. But I never did on the TV. So that's going to be, I'll probably notice a lot more.
Yeah, you can go back and you can look at 4:23. You can look at all the time that these cars start arriving and going by and all the activity happening. It's wild. And play it in slow motion because there's more than just one car that comes and goes from that area. There are several cars.
Wow.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, they just come in and out this whole area all morning long.
I've seen the one with the police cars going to the house at 6:30, 7:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back and record, fuckery.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're all looking to work together and try to figure this out because I think we've already come to the conclusion they have just tried to cover it up and blame somebody with autism. And guess the Idaho state document that they're buried and hidden. That's the whole one that I'm talking about. People are like, "What do you mean? What buried document? Have you read them?"
Found so much awesome stuff. I'm telling you, wow.
It has truly been wild. Exo Pink, thank you so much. What did you say? I sent you an email. Did you have a chance to see it? I am so far behind. I am almost done with chapter 7 of the book I'm writing on the IDAHO4. And I will definitely respond, I promise, in the next 24 hours to everyone's emails. I am so backed up. So we are really fighting for justice. And
Yes.
if you're not following myself, please do. If you're not following Gypsy, please do. And if you have any questions, you want to leave a comment, a concern, anything for the website that we need to change, update, and redo, let us know. We are truly just giving you the information that we are finding. Gypsy, any last words for you?
Yeah, I had some thoughts. I'm trying to think what it was. Let's see. I just the whole misconception and falsehoods that are around about autism, and how it's important to recognize the alarming number of misconceptions. You know, there's a fact. It can't be prevented. There's a fact. Vaccines do not cause it. We don't know the cause of it. Hopefully one day, you know, but we need to fight for BK's innocence and set precedent for the future.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree. If you don't know where to start and how to advocate for somebody who's factually innocent, go to our website, which is our community website, justice4, FOURALL.com. There are autism court filings, but also at the top on the left side, you will see a sample letter for the Department of Justice. You can write the Department of Justice. I have a form sample. You can copy and paste it and send it, email it, right? It's very simple. Their email is very simple. You can download the PDF, print it off, and you know, write your own. You can edit it. And there's also some information on the Autism Innocent Project.
Yes.
There is a whole way to contact them. Let them know that, hey, perhaps that, you know, you might want to look into the Kohberger case and help him in this way. And, you know, take action. There's an email that you can send. You can sign a petition. You can volunteer. There's support groups, writing letters to legislators. It gives you a whole suggestion on what to do and won't do.
Okay.
And these are ways.
Yins all hear this, right? So
these are ways.
Get to work. I'm going to do it.
These are ways to help and help spread the awareness. If only one person shares this, encourage that one person to share it with someone else, because then you have the power of exponentiating. That's sharing it, adding it, multiplying it, and exponentiating this whole call to action. I love you guys. Thank you, Gypsy, for being a special guest tonight.
I enjoyed it. I admire you so much for all of your background and history, and thank you for your service and being the mom that you are and digging the criminal side of the autism. Just more power to you, girl. Love you.
We have got to make this easier for people to understand and advocate. I love you. Thank you for jumping in and willing to
absolutely advocate anytime
and be a support. And Brian, if your family is listening tonight, here is a special message to his mother. Of all the people in the world he trusts to communicate with you and share and nurture and teach him how to be a good individual, I commend you in your due diligence in helping raise Brian. And I sure hope that somebody hears your plea and reaches out to defend him, and that he will be exonerated. That is my prayer.
I agree. That was very nice. Very well said. Very well said, Phoenix.
Sending love and light. Phoenix is out. You guys enjoy your night.
Peace all. Love you guys.
Listen up, the ashes stir, Phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the lax to meet the blur. Out the flames I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth the blaze I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stump in unison. Searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom. Built on lies and steel, they boxed us in cages. Now we break the locks, rewrite history's pages. Innocent until proven guilty, that's the oath we recite. Under this constitution we ignite the night. We rise like a phoenix and sink, we claim the street. Nest seekers united, our freedom can't be beat. Stand up when one falls, yeah we got your back. In a free land unbroken, we launch the righteous attack. Justice for the voiceless, break the chains of deceit. Innocent till proven guilty, our victory's complete. System cracked at the seams, built for just a few. We rip apart the scheme, bring the truth into view. Movement swells like thunder, souls fueled by conviction. Phoenix souls aligned, demanding our new vision. Marching on the courthouse banners, paint the sky. Echoes of freedom roar, watch the old guard comply. No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why.
Essentially convicted in the media. You don't have to read but a few articles to see how negative they are about him. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent.